Carlton. They're just a huge story at the moment. It's D-Day. If they can't beat West Coast this weekend, then it is an emergency for Michael Voss and his crew. No doubt about that. They lost to Collingwood, of course, on Friday night, and the Pies controlled that second half pretty comfortably in the end. How are you seeing the midfield mix, the playmaking mix for the Blues, King?
I think the Blues are in quicksand late because I think there's a selection they're too tall. They just don't have the ability to run out games. Have a look at these numbers. The uncontested marks first half to second half. Yep. They don't look like massive differences, but that's a significant drop. It just means you're getting no easy, slow, methodical build-up, take a bit of pressure off your back half. There's no overlap run, so the handball receives are doing the same. And I just wonder if it's because guys physically can't go. Are they too tall down back? Are they too tall up forward? And the extra ruckman is coming from Paddy Cripps. So one of the tools that's up forward is not coming out of there to make them smaller. He's actually coming from the midfield. So it's a strange mix.
Why isn't this a fitness issue? You don't think this is a fitness issue?
No, I think physically they're capable. They're just too tall. They're not overlap runners. They're not handball receivers. I think the quicker they get some of those fleet of foot players back in and make some changes.
Well, who are you talking about?
Well, I'm thinking there's guys that got to move out of the back line for a whole host of reasons. I'll show you some vision as to why I think they've got to make some changes because their back line is confused and playing in a strange manner. This is Young versus McStay. You tell me this is a fitness issue, right? Or an attitude issue. He just doesn't go with him, right? He's 3 metres from him. He's right next to him. This is not fitness. Absolutely not fitness. And Vossi's talking about standards. Well, you know what? These guys have got to get out of your team. Because you've got guys jumping out of the boat at the moment that won't put their body on the line. And just watch this. This is what I'm talking about with your back line. Everyone talks about Silvani having a great year and he's good one-on-one, all those sorts of things. Saad we've shown every week for 2.5 years. It's about time they make a decision. Silvani defeats Degoe on the lead. Saad just drops off Elliott. I don't know why he drops off. I don't know where he's going. Silvani retreats to the goal square, which is the wing roll. So the wingman's looking at him thinking, what are you doing here? I'm supposed to be there. So now there's 3 Pie players at the top guarded by Williams alone. So he's in trouble. So he covers Degoe instead of Schultz. And we know what happens. Here it goes to the top of the square. Saad's still in a redundant position. Silvani doesn't get the job done. And the sliding half forward kicks the goal. So there's confusion everywhere. So it's not a fitness thing. It really isn't. I think you're trying to make defenders out of players that aren't defenders. Saad's been a great defender, but right now he's a poor commodity. Get him out of there. They've got no run out of the back half. I'd look at Walsh back there. I know you've got another option, Joey, but I'd look at changing Silvani. He's been their second best forward for the year. Play him forward. Let him do the second ruck stuff. Save Paddy Cripps from getting bashed. There's so many things they can do to free this team up. They're way too tall and they're ineffective down back.
And part of it's decision. I think they've got defenders that make poor decisions. When they come off their man, what they do, then they're playing catch-up and it sets everything off. And there are some that struggle. But we talk about now, this is Michael Voss's lot though, right? This is what he's got to work with this year.
Yeah.
So what can he do? And I'm on the same page as King. I think Michael Voss needs to make some change. More so just to freshen up and liven up the playing group and get something different. So you've been great on Adam Chera and how he's just a nice player. And he's played over 57 games now for Carlton. He's polled Brownlow votes in 4 games, coaches' votes where he's had some influence, some big coaches' votes in 4 games. I'd move him out of the midfield. I'd move him to half back and become like a Josh Dacos, a nice user. Well, but he's not really getting the job done. No. You know, like he's not bad. But I'd move him to half-back. I think Lockie Fogarty, he gets a game every single week. I had a look at his numbers. He's played 51 games for Carlton. He's kicked 19 goals as a small forward. He's kicked 9 goals in his last 27 games. He's had 1 behind for the year and 1 goal assist in 4 games. If you're a small forward and you're not impacting the scoreboard, what are you doing? So there's another one. I think we spoke about Haynes and Doherty aren't quite getting it done. Lewis Young, you've mentioned. Even Cowan, for me, I know he's a young player, hasn't really set the world on fire to command a spot. I think maybe Zach Williams should go back and do his role back there. And I'm with you, Mitch McGovern's probably another one.
Mitch McGovern.
That I would maybe look to move. So he's had 17 turnovers. 7 of them have directly gone back and cost Carlton the goal, which is the worst in the competition.
Wow.
So as much as he looks great at times and does some nice things, he's a turnover machine as well. Maybe you get him forward, get a bit of a different mix because they need to change it up just to revitalise their season.
The bottom line is, this weekend, this Thursday night is the biggest selection night for Michael Voss for some time.
Yep.
They've got to make change. They've got to set standards. Anyone who jumped out of the boat last week, out of the team. There's a game they should win against the West Coast Eagles. They've got to recalibrate and they've got to actually hold selection to a high standard.
Crucial sliding doors for Carlton and Michael Voss this week. What about Darcy Cameron, Joey? Because he has had a sensational start to the year.
He's had a sensational year, and he deserves some recognition because it probably goes under the radar how good of a ruckman he has been. But I just wanted to highlight, like, this is method the way Collingwood want to play. So when we see them take off from halfback, we've spoken a lot about their handball game. There's a reason why their halfbacks can go with confidence. Is because they know their ruckman plays a bit like the old school.
Yep.
He stays a kick behind play to give them a little security blanket. So if Collingwood do charge and they do turn the ball over, well, one, they're in the opposition's face because they are all charging forward, but they know they've got their big man to cover their bacon if they do get beat. And this happened, it's happened for about 18 months now, but I just thought tonight this game was worth showing on a couple of occasions because he took the 5 intercept marks, and this is what it looks like. So you can see all those Collingwood players just coming into screen. They all get high. If it gets turned over, he's able to do things like this. And when you take a look at the actual intercept marks from ruckman since the start of last year, it's surprising. He's taken nearly 20 more than the next best.
Wow.
And a lot of them have been in the defensive half. The old school kick
Gary
behind
Dempsey.
play. The old Gary Dempsey. The old, the older people at home can reel him off. But I just thought it's worth crediting that he's the best intercept mark as a ruckman in the competition and by a fair way, and it's a big part of Collingwood's method and their ball movement.
He'd be high up in their best and fairest too. Again, after a strong season last year, his contract value would certainly be rising. That is a story, right? GWS Giants, didn't they do a demolition job on the Eagles today at NG Stadium? And Jesse Hogan filled his boots, 9 goals, could have added 10th as well. He was on fire, the big spearhead, that's for sure. But we have spent the whole week talking about the co-captain of West Coast and Oscar Allen. His meeting with Sam Mitchell looked like he was almost a hostage in that press conference, which we saw, he almost crying. But you want to highlight another leader of the Eagles, Kingy. This is interesting vision.
Yeah, I think they've got really poor leadership at the moment across the board, the West Coast Eagles, as a club, on and off field. And this is another action that I think Liam Duggan will want his time again. This is 2.5 minutes into a game of footy, right? And I understand the kid with the lid has got some serious wheels. But this is not a speed issue. This is an application and attitude issue. Tick to there, right? And then he just drops the anchor. He expects someone else to do his job for him. You're the captain, mate. You should be setting the standard. You should be running the show. And then after that play, he just drifts off and doesn't take any responsibility. Mate, they put the other captain in front of the media pack to be savage during the start of this week. I think Liam Duggan needs to have a bit of a reality check. I think the club need to make a couple of statements. I mean, I look at their leadership, and he's a bit the same as Adam Chera, Liam Duggan.
Yeah.
I can tell you what he's going to have. He's going to have 21 possessions a week and have half a dozen score involvements every second game. So I just think that right now, who's the next? You asked me who's the next captain of Melbourne. Who's the next captain of the West Coast Eagles after Duggan and Oscar Allen?
Elliot Yeo, when he's in the team, maybe.
He misses too much footy. He'd have to get someone else to toss the coin.
I think Stan McPaul has to turn to his Tiger boys that he brought across. I think he has to go to Liam Baker and Jack Graham and say, I've brought you to this club to set the standards, what premiership standards look like, to set a tone. I think they're going to have to go that way.
That'd be an indictment on everyone else.
Well, who else? You can't even name anyone else. You've got Elliot Yeo. There's not many options at the West Coast Eagles for
Big fights for
captaincy
Joey,
material.
mate.
Well, I'd have to think about that in the ad break, it's fair to say.